Good morning, Vibe Tribe. We were all just chitty-chatting about how our morning's been going. One thing we are bringing back to Vibe Tribe is our morning gratitude. If you are not doing your gratitude Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, how are you living? I know today I'm very grateful for my jumper cables because 3:45 this morning, not a time I wanted to be awake, guys. Hubby had to be up and out the door, so I had to be ready, but then it also gave me time to see the stars on my morning walk instead of being blinded by the sun. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But it also gave Sky and I time this morning to watch the sunrise at the beach. So win-win, I guess we'll go with. Holly is here today because she inspires the crap out of so many people. And I can tell you from first experience, when I need to be reminded how to do my self-development, I call Holly. So Holly is going to share some tips with you guys. Let's write in the chats what everyone is grateful for as we go. I don't have a patch on yet, guys. I'm going to mute for a sec so I can scream at a cat. Cats and garbage. What is it today? Anyway, hopefully this is going to work, you guys. We don't know. I'm trying. We're trying. Ollie, I'm going to share that video.
All right. Yeah. Like you guys, we're going to do the 5-second rule today. And what I want you to think about is like, just imagine we're about to give you a tool to stop you from being fearful, to stop you from procrastinating, because it's going to get you out of your head and get you taking action. So this is a quick introduction to kind of just explain that to you, and then we'll go into more detail. All right, where's your sound, Mel?
You guys aren't hearing it?
No.
All right, I'm going to mute everybody. You hear it?
Do you think it's your connection?
I don't know what it is. Not gonna lie. But I have a solution here, guys. 1 second.
You don't have it muted, do you?
No, I don't. All right, let me Google it on my phone.
Well, hey, I have it queued up. I can try and screen share it.
That's gonna mess up the recording. It cancels the recording when we switch hosts.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, I know, right? Let me see if I can find it on my phone.
We've got it right in our chat from this morning.
Yeah, I was doing it the hard way.
It's early.
Guys, I've been up since 3:45. If you do not expect me to do something the hard way, all right.
It's so weird. It played so perfect when we practiced this morning.
Specific way that you can use the 5-second rule to increase your productivity. Now, first, let's talk a little bit about productivity. Productivity is not about blasting through your to-do list and doing more. It's actually about doing less. You use the ability to make progress on the things that matter to you. capable of being more productive. You're just waiting to feel like doing what you need to do. And guess what? So you need to do, and you got people that are making demands on you. One thing that you
I don't know, guys. What we'll do is we will share the link in the recording replay. You know, technology loves us. So we will share that record. Hey, man, don't judge me. I don't know how to work Zoom on a good day, let alone a bad day. I hit the record button and everyone else tells me what to do. So,
all right. So, and if you just go to Mel Robbins wrote the book, right? If you go to Mel Robbins, if you go to her YouTube page and then you go to her playlist, she actually has a playlist for the 5-second rule. So, what the 5-second rule, y'all, is it's about things that we find hard and things that we find difficult. How do we make that easy, and how do we quickly trick our brain into doing things? So like she writes in her book, she's like, have you ever noticed how the smallest things can seem hard? Having heard from thousands of people, I know you're not alone on this. This is a list of things that's surprisingly universal. So I'm sure you guys can relate to this. Like, here's things that feel hard to people: speaking in a meeting, staying positive, making a decision, finding time for yourself, asking for feedback, ending self-doubt, hitting send on an email, sticking to plans, leaving your house, volunteering to go first, eating in moderation. Like, can everybody relate to that? Like, everybody struggles with, simple things like that. And why is that? I think that's just because we're humans. And as Mel says, like, your body is set up to not change, like seriously not change. So she, in studying the human mind, she was like, I think this is going to be a great idea, like to disrupt that thought pattern, right? So like it says in the book, the 5-second rule: the moment you have an instinct to act on a goal, you must 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and physically move, or your brain will stop you. So you have a very finite period of time when you're like, okay, my alarm just went off, right? Like, you can 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up and get out of bed, or you can hit that snooze button. Like, it's all about just disrupting that pattern, and counting backwards is actually what does that. And a really good example, and we'll talk about it again at the end, like how do you implement it in your everyday life? But like Mel said, she and her husband keep their phones in the bathroom. So when the alarm goes off, they have to get up to go turn off their alarm. So that's like setting yourself up to like double win, right? Like, you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then boom, you've got to go there. So this is a great part, because like I think everybody is always like, how do I motivate myself? How do I motivate others? You don't. Motivation's a myth. She said, I don't know when we all bought into the idea that in order to change, you must feel eager or feel motivated to act. It's complete garbage. The moment it's time to assert yourself, you will not feel motivated. In fact, you will want to feel like doing nothing at all, right? Like, who can't relate to that? Like, you're like, oh no, I'd much rather do something else. And like, seriously, like, my middle name should have been like procrastination, because that is my favorite thing to do in the whole wide world. So I'm so glad when we were talking about what could we talk about, I'm like, I need to do the 5-second rule, because I got to get back on that bandwagon. So, and it's not, Mel says, it's not the big moves that define our lives. It's the smallest ones. Within 5 seconds of stopping to think, you'll have decided not to take any action on those small steps. Over time, these small decisions build. And here's the kicker: we've repeated this pattern of hesitating, worrying, and doubting ourselves so much now that these actions are now habits that have ended in our brains, right? Like, we do that over and over. So I'm going to read this, because this is really good. So this is like, this is where she starts, and she says, how do you use the 5-second rule? So what you do is, when you are faced with any situation, start by counting backwards to yourself: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The counting will help you focus on the goal or commitment and distract you from the worries, thoughts, and fears in your mind, right? So it's just that truly works. As soon as you reach 1, move. That's it. It's a simple, it's so simple, but let me hammer this one more time. Anytime there's something you should do, and you feel uncertain, afraid, or overwhelmed, just take control of it by counting backwards 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That'll quiet your mind, and then you have to move when you get to 1. Counting and moving are actions. By teaching yourself to take action when normally you'd stop yourself by thinking, you can create remarkable change. Counting backwards does a few important things simultaneously. It distracts you from your worries. It focuses your attention on what you need to do. It prompts you to act, and it interrupts the habits of hesitating, overthinking, and holding yourself back. Like, how many times have you been in analysis paralysis before? I'm going to tell a really good story. I have a really good friend. She's one of my best friends, but she spends her whole life in analysis paralysis. She can, like, I told her the other day on the phone, I'm like, if there was an Academy Award for somebody who can beat a horse to death, you would be it. Susie gets stuck in her life constantly about it. So it was perfect that I had picked up this book, and she like literally just quit a job last week, and she lives in Michigan. She wants to move south. She's been talking about it for 10 years. 10 years, you guys. And so I told her, I said, you having to resign from your job last week was God moving it forward, being like, you have to stop analyzing and start moving. Like she's been on my team, you guys, since I started 6 years ago, and she hasn't done anything because she's got to analyze, and she's got to, oh, well, I got to learn all this and I got to learn all that. Like, for those of you that have those green personalities that know all the details, like, you're never going to know all the details. It's just impossible. So using that
Hey, now,
is just
take it
so
back.
helpful.
Take it back. I am a green personality.
I'm green too. I'm totally green. Like, I had to like deprogram the green out. And now it's bad because now like a promo comes out and I'm messaging somebody going, like, okay, so what counts for this again? Like, help me with that. So what can you use it for? You guys, you can use this for your business. You can use this for your children, everything else. So you can use it to change your behavior. Use that rule to push yourself forward and create new habits for yourself. You can use it to act every day with everyday courage. Like if you were in the push group, like, we had to go out and do a scavenger hunt. And, one day we just had to just like get somebody on social media from being out and about. And that's terrifying for so many people to talk to strangers, right? Like, to actually do it. Yeah, Mel's over here like raising her hand. Like, it's a natural for me because like I'm just fascinated by people and I love their stories. But I still get stopped. Like, I can be talking to somebody, at the store and hanging out with them while we're checking out, wherever I'm at. But like, the taking it to the next step of, oh my gosh, like, are you on social media? Like, I'd love to, get to know you a little bit better. Like, I really enjoyed our conversation today. Sometimes I just have to, say to myself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And sometimes, because I've walked out of a store before, I can remember so clearly. I walked out of Ross one day. It was probably about 4 years ago. I'd been talking to this woman in line. She was just really friendly, really fun. Walked, went, and I had to go check out. Walked all the way out of Ross, and it was like God going, you need to go back in there. And so I went back in, and I was like, I know you're going to think I'm totally crazy, and that's okay if you do. Like, if you just want to call me a psycho and, wish me well, that's fine. But like, I really enjoyed our conversation. Where are you on social media? Like, I'd love to, get to know you better since you're here in Douglasville. Like, if you can't have too many friends, so it's just pushing yourself past that point. So it can help with, with that type of stuff, things that you're afraid of. And you can use it to control your mind. You can use a rule to stop the barrage of negative thoughts and endless worries that weigh you down. You can also break the habit of anxiety and beat any fear. When you take control of your mind, you'll be able to think about things that bring you joy instead of focusing on the negative. And that, in my opinion, is the most, powerful part of it, which she says. So, how does it work on so many areas of your life? I mean, you guys can obviously figure that out. Like, once you get rid of that weighty that doubting, feeling insecure, everything else, like you totally can move forward in it. So, because we're also guilty of thinking about getting involved, but not doing it. We're all waiting for the right time. Can you relate to that? Oh yeah, I gotta wait for the right time. It's total stupidity. I love the way she writes. In a recent survey, 85% of professional service employees admitted they were withholding critical feedback. Why? You already know the answer. They're waiting for the right time. The same is true for your kids, your spouse, your friends, and your colleagues. Like, can you relate to that? So, how do you increase your productivity with this? Like, right? Like, we all want to get more time out of our day. And one thing that Mel says in that video that Mel shared with you is that productivity is not about doing a lot of things and taking a lot of time. It's like actually about shrinking the time it takes you to do something. Because once you take that analysis out of it and that fear out of it and that procrastination out of it, you can actually get to spending the time doing the things that you love to do. You know, kind of like, you know, if you've ever heard the phrase like eat the frog, like you do the tough things first thing in the morning. So when you manage distractions, it's, you know, it's just like following through on your health goals. You are never going to feel like it. You just have to make yourself do it. You already know that being addicted to your phone, texting and answering emails is a distraction, but stopping it feels impossible, right? Right? Because like, you know, we're in the business of people. So we get on social media and we're scrolling and having fun. And the next thing you know, it's been an hour and you didn't do any income producing activities. So even though you know you should turn off pop-up alerts, silence your phone, and stop checking email every 5 minutes, this knowledge does not change your behavior, right? It doesn't change your behavior. You know it, but you've got to actually, you know, change that. So first, you must decide that distractions are not good. Interruptions of any sort are the kiss of death for your productivity. The kiss of death. Oh. Then you just have to remove them. And like Mel said, she's not claiming it's rocket scientist. I'm not going to tell you that it's easy, but I promise that if you use the 5-second rule, you'll actually do it. You will actually remove the distractions from your life. When you start removing distractions, you're able to focus on the moment to moment things that matter, and you have no idea how much it will help. So that's really huge. What are some simple things that you can do? Like Mel puts like her daily routine in here and I just love it. So like the one thing I told you earlier, like put your alarm or put your phone, number one, because that's going to have you go to sleep, right? Like you're not going to hear your phone buzz. You're not going to want to like check it. Put your phone in the bathroom. So when the alarm goes off, you have to get up and go to your phone. Like now you're up and you're moving and that's an action instead of hitting the snooze button. Like the snooze button is like the biggest procrastination on the planet for most people, right? So she said she gets up when the alarm rings, she goes into her bathroom and she turns it off. Then she brushes her teeth, and while she's brushing her teeth for that 3 to 5 minutes, she said she's focusing on her day ahead. And she's got a great TED talk on this also, you guys. Then she says she gets dressed, she makes her bed, she walks in the kitchen and pours a cup of coffee. In our case, we're gonna mix up our lifestyle mix, right? Have you noticed what she hasn't done yet? She hasn't looked at her phone, gone online to check her email. Why? Because she knows that the second she does, she will lose her focus. The moment you check email, read the news, or search social media, someone else's priorities jump right in front of you. Right? I love it. Jessica's over there just like nodding away. She's like, I'm getting all this. Like, I totally get that. So she writes down her 3 musts and why they're important. She said in her little daily planner, she just writes down, 1, 2, or 3 things that she feels she must do that day that are for her. All right. Then she plans her day, which I don't recommend this. Like I like planning my day the night before because, if you're going to spend, like she talks about taking your first 30 minutes of the morning for you to get working on your plan. But if you have your plan ready the night before, then you can just jump right in, right? Like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here's my first task. So I recommend, she does it in the morning. So if you want to plan in the morning, if that's when your brain is the smartest, and like what she says to you guys, and this is huge, your first 2 to 3 hours of your day are your most productive hours. So do you want to spend it being productive and, accomplishing what you can, or do you want to spend it procrastinating and just searching through social media? And then she plans, believe it or not, she actually plans her quitting time, like when she's going to be done, and, switch to mom mode or whatever she's got going on. So how do you get started with the 5-second rule? How you get started is, here's what she says. If procrastinating is a habit, you have to replace the bad behavior pattern avoidance with new positive ones, getting started. The moment you feel yourself hesitate doing easier tasks or avoiding the hard work, you've got to immediately use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Push yourself to start the important thing that you know you need to do. Getting started takes us back to procrastination. Just makes you feel like you have no control over yourself, right? And that is not empowering whatsoever. It's not empowering when you're like, oh, I put it off again. I put it off again. And boy, like I live that every single day. Like and then things end up being, last minute. And then oh my gosh, like right now, like I've protested my taxes, and I think I have to, like, I got the letter and you have 30 days to, get all your paperwork together and send it in to support your case. Ask me how much I've done. None, because it's like, I say to myself, well, I don't know who I'm going to talk to find out what the home values are and stuff, instead of just taking action, and finding a real estate agent going, hey, do you think you could do me a favor? Because I've got lots of those friends. So you've really just got to start doing it, like start getting started. So does anybody have any questions? Like, has anybody read the 5-second rule before? What did you come away from it with? Anyone?
I have not read it, but I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I'm actually doing the dishes while I'm listening to you. I'm loving this, and I'm actually going to send it to, I have an 18-year-old daughter that's in college, and I'm going to send that link for her to watch as soon as I'm going to send it when we get off here so she can watch it before she heads out the door and stuff, just to kind of another way of thinking about things, So
yeah. And on YouTube, y'all, like you can find, like, I think the whole audio book is on there for free. And
okay.
I mean, she has several different, like the video that we have right here, like you're going to start at the 1:10 mark and just go to the 5:40 mark. Like, it's just really, really quick, where she talks about what it is, and then she goes in, to the book to sell it. But she's got that. Then she has an 11-minute video, like if you want to know, like, the science behind it and why it works. But just in her YouTube channel, if you just go to the playlist of the 5-second rule, she's probably got 10 different videos in there. And absolutely, like, it's something that I'm going to work on with my son, because you're right, Katrina, like, for us to think that our kids don't get stopped by things, like, would be silly, because it's part of human instinct. Like, our body naturally wants us to not change, like getting outside of your comfort zone makes your body uncomfortable, and your body's like, we don't want to do that. We're comfortable where we are. So being able to switch it up is huge. So my 13-year-old's going to get a whole conversation about it as well.
Like, I tell her all the time, I'm like, I already made the mistakes. Okay. I already made the mistakes. Let me share with you what I did, so you don't have to do it too, because I already did it for us. All right. And I've been sharing some more of the self-development stuff, just because, we have so many amazing leaders like yourself, right, that we get to learn so much from here in this company. And why not carry it over to our kids?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, like, on the back side of that, I will say too, Katrina, something that Elizabeth Curran, my best friend in my upline, has taught me for years is people learn through pain. So sometimes, like with our children, like, here's a perfect example. How many kids don't want to put on their winter coat, right? Like, Lord forbid any middle schooler or high schooler, Lord forbid anybody should know that you actually own a jacket, right? When you get to school, like, it's a whole thing. But if, we can keep harping at them to put their jacket on, and most likely they're not going to do it, right? So sometimes you just have to let natural consequence and the pain of being freezing cold when you go outside for recess or a fire drill or whatever it is, teach them that they need to get their jacket. So absolutely, I think it's so great because I've worked on self-development with Adam ever since, dropping him off at kindergarten, like in the car rider line, we're like, who decides what kind of a day you're going to have? I do. What kind of a day you're going to have? An awesome one, like absolutely those things. But I think like we try to keep our children from pain almost too much sometimes. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they just have to learn the hard way, because you can tell them over and over and over and they don't listen. But when they actually experience, oh my gosh, I was freezing today, like they had to pull their arms inside their shirt when they were outside because they were just so cold. Yeah, that's huge. But yeah, it's a big thing anybody can use. Everybody needs it because our brains are just built up that way. And especially when it comes to meeting people out and about, like I always tell people, number one, we pray for God to bring the people to us, right? That need this business, need this product, that are just desperate for something, like desperate for change, and they don't know what it is. But if we don't open our mouth and talk to people that are in our path when we're out and about, how do we know who God put in front of us? We just don't. So you've got to use that 5 seconds of courage to speak up and say something, even if it's just to speak up and say, oh my gosh, your daughter's outfit is so adorable. Like I have a son, and like I really don't want a daughter, but the one thing I miss is like I would love to have a daughter to dress up. Like that's really fun. Does she like those outfits? Like even if it's just to make a compliment and open up a conversation. Anybody else?
One thing that I can say, like I have heard the 5-second rule 100,000 times over, but it wasn't until we were planning this Zoom that it really clicked that like, unless I do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and get up out of bed, I take my capsules and I still lay in bed. Like I'm comfy and warm. Why would I get out of my cocoon of heat to like actually get up and get shit done? And like, you guys don't realize until you're in that position that you're like, okay, I'm going to attempt to try this. And then do it. And you're like, oh, it actually clicked. Like I physically got up on one. Now like the phone in the bathroom, somebody like me who's deaf, like it doesn't matter where my phone is unless my hearing aid is in, I don't hear it. So that doesn't work for me. But my husband hears it, and he'll tell you right now, he hates when he knows when there's bonuses or a promo, because he hears my phone go zzz, 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 all night. And he's like, you need to mute your phone. I'm done.
So funny. I'll leave you guys with this because this is another wise thing that Elizabeth says to me all the time. And it pertains exactly to what Mel just said. Like, that's why it's so important to plug in, because this is what Elizabeth says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Like Mel's, read the 5-second rule. She's heard about it. And like, she was now ready to be like, okay, like I really need to try that out. Like, I'm going to put that on and see if it fits and if it's comfortable and excuse me, and see if it's something that I can apply to my life. So when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So when so here's a perfect example of like, people learn through pain, and when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You've got that one promoter that like never ever listens to you. Like they don't pay attention. You talk to them about the waiting room. Like I actually had this happen to someone. I had this awesome girl on my team, super, super incredible. It was the end of the bonuses when we all first got started, like that first 6 months. And she was going after a 12K bonus. She needed to place someone underneath another person who was going for their 4K bonus. Like we were popping, we were stacking to pop bonuses. Well, she totally missed, you guys. She missed moving the person before her window was shut to do it on the last day of the month, right? So now she left a team member sitting there without that placement to help her achieve that bonus. And this is literally like, I am at the airport on the way back from conference. It is the last day, the last 6 hours. Thank goodness I was in a position, y'all, like it was just one of those things where I could be a blessing. And, you know, because I had earned the $40,000 bonus and I needed product because we had so much momentum that I was able to, you know, I was able to help that girl. I was like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to put, you know, we're going to put a $400 pack underneath your husband and a $400 pack underneath you. And that's going to get you the volume that you need. And I'll come pick them up when they get there. Right. So we fixed that. But what the promoter learned was, you know, a huge lesson, right? Like she learned through pain because she let somebody on her team down and we almost lost that bonus. Like if I had been on the plane, it would have been all over. And it was the end of bonus season, the very last day. And like she didn't want to hear and she didn't want to listen, but now the student was ready and the teacher appeared and said, so at the end of the month, we only have for you until 10 o'clock in your time zone for you to make any switches and placements from your waiting room. So I will leave you with that. I hope you guys have the most amazing day, the most amazing weekend. I am doing a vendor event tomorrow with a bunch of tired parents because there's a band competition tomorrow here at our local high school. And I'm going to have a lot of tired parents because they have to get up early and drive from all over the state and everything else. So, very, very excited about the weekend. Mel, thanks for inviting me to be on.
Not a problem, girl. Anytime. One thing I wanted to mention to everybody before we jump off, like we do still have another like 25 minutes. So we have the option to just stop recording and hang out and everyone talk. But I do want to mention, you guys, do not let today's promo that ends at 11:59 slip out of your fingers, okay? I'm going to tell you 1,000 times because there's a million ways to the beach. You hear Stacy say 1,000 ways to the beach. Yes, take what Holly just said about waiting room. Waiting room closes today, people. But these bonuses, like I know in Canada, it's $260. You get $65 credit plus the balance. In the US, it's, I believe, $200 orders. You get $50 in credits and balance. Like, guys, let's rock this. Let's thank Lavelle. I don't know how close everyone is to their rank or where they want to be this month, but I can tell you, I got 3 orders in last night. The third one popped in at like 11:50, and I'm still pushing today. It is the first time in months that I've been where I am. So let me tell you, your girl is going to keep pushing because we need to push. Also for Vibe Tribe News, Mexico is literally around the corner. So if you have not qualified, bust butt to get it. I did not qualify and or will not be going because that's the same weekend I have like a vendor event and about 500 other things.
Oh, I have one thing that I'm going to challenge you all to do with this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you've never done a vendor event or if you don't have one set up for this fall, it is the time. Like, so my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for you today is for you to not have an excuse like I can't do it. I don't have a tent. I don't have a display. Push through all that crap because that's just an excuse, right? Like it doesn't matter how you feel about it. Y'all, I'm here to tell you, and I know Katrina will tell you the same thing. Like I have built 95% of my business off of vendor events. The people on my team and my customers, I never met before a vendor event. They were total strangers to me. So challenge yourself. Like local churches have vendor events right now. I mean, we're talking like some of them, it's only 20, $25, y'all. So, you know, you've got that option because they're trying to raise money for their, you know, missionary work and their, you know, their teen retreats and things like that. So schools have them, like your PTOs are trying to raise money. And where do you want to be around? You know, like you want to be around other tired parents. Like the first place you want to look is, does the local elementary, middle school, high school have a fall festival? And then, you know, everybody has fall festivals. I mean, and if you can't find anything,
heck?
I dare you, I triple dog dare you to just call a pumpkin farm where people go and be like, hey, I mean, I know this is kind of unusual, but I'm trying to build my business, and could I just come set up a booth for the day at your pumpkin farm? Because like I help tired parents get their mojo back. And I'm sure I could help a lot of your customers. And you can even tell them, look, I'll even give you, 5 days to try for free if you'll let me set up a booth. Like think outside the box. Like don't be afraid to do it. But I challenge everybody today to get at least one little vendor event scheduled.
Well, that's the challenge of the day, guys.
5,
With
4,
that,
3, 2, 1 through it.
with that, we are going to end this recording, you guys. We hope that you have an amazing weekend. And we are thinking of those in the hurricane and post-hurricane. Atlantic Canada, stay strong. I know you guys are we're going to get hit with another hurricane, guys. And I wish I could tell you it wasn't going to be as bad as the last one, but they don't know. So stay strong, everybody who's dealing with hurricanes and flooding and no power. We send love and support your way. Have a great day, guys. And those who want to stay on after, stay on.